Hey everybody, it's GoblinX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today I'll be playing another premiere draft of Dominaria United with Alchemy cards added, and let's just get things started off with an excellent rare. We've got another Namata Primeval Warden, the 4-mana 3/4 that starts putting 1/1s out every time a creature an opponent controls dies. Just a pretty powerful card, super excellent one, and pretty easily the pack one pick one here. We do have a really strong Alchemy card as well, but it's not quite as good. The Wandering Tree Folk here, a 2-mana 2/3 Vigilance, already a pretty solid rate, and it gives you that ability to seek creatures out of your deck for potentially as low as 3 mana if you have full domain, which is a pretty ridiculous mana sink later in the game. Make sure that you start drawing all of your creatures a lot quicker than your opponent. So Wandering Tree Folk's really good as well, but not quite Namata level bomb rare kind of card. So we're going to go with Namata here. Territorial Morrow, another very strong domain card in the pack. Really strong pack altogether. The commons are great too. Extinguish the Light, Tolarian Terror, Impulse. Super good pack to open up. Looking at pick 2, the Alchemy card is gone, so we don't get to see any new hotness there. We have a Yavimaya Sojourner. If we start heading in the domain direction, this is a good way to get a cheap, large blocker on the board. If you have full domain, then this is going to cost you 3 mana for a 4/6, so it can really help stabilize, get a really big blocker on the board. With Namata, we're already going green and black, and almost every green deck in this format I find has at least a little bit of domain synergies, so we could take the Yavimaya Sojourner or the Tangled Islet and start pretty heavily heading in the domain direction, and I think that's what I'm going to do here. I don't think any of the other commons are super good outside of Talus Lookout, which doesn't work great with Namata because of the double blue in its casting cost. And there is Rada, which is good in a more aggressive domain deck, but I find the more controlling, slower, more defensive domain decks to be a bit more up my wheelhouse, and that's where green-black tends to be as well. I'm probably actually just going to take the Tangled Islet first over the Yavimaya Sojourner. I think it's just incredibly important to get those dual lands if you're heading towards a domain strategy, and we're going to make sure that we've got those on lock before we start scooping up Sojourners. Those can often wheel if nobody else is in the more controlling domain strategy as well. So for pick 3, the best card is probably Heirloom Battle Hymn. 3 mana to deal 4 damage to a creature or planeswalker, and you can kick it to gain 4. The Alchemy card is gone from this pack as well. There's a Rulik Mons, which is pretty splashable. You just need a single red mana. It's kind of a fun card. It doesn't do anything unless you're attacking, though, so it's not great on the defensive. But it is a pretty fun ability there. We have a Flowstone Infusion for another cheap removal spell, but I'm pretty sure we're just taking a Heirloom Battle Hymn here and trying to make sure we get some red fixing. Because, yeah, Radiant Grove, a little less exciting. White is usually the least represented color in most of my domain strategies. Green, black, blue, and red feel like the number one's the most popular colors for those strategies. Got a Wingmantle Chaplain here if we want to be the menace of the format today and just start scooping up all the defenders and playing a ridiculous, grindy, unstoppable defender strategy, but I do not enjoy playing that kind of strategy or playing against it, so I'm just not going to take Wingmantle Chaplain, even though it's almost objectively the correct pick here. We have a Goblin Morale Sergeant if I want to take an Enlist card, and this would give us 2 red cards to start using that as a primary strategy. Maybe we end up in some weird like red-black or red-green, splashing the 3rd color. If we can use this Goblin Morale Sergeant. Yeah, it's the most fun card in the pack. The card that makes the most sense if we are going to be a little grindier, a little more domainy, is probably like Rulik Mons, maybe the Draw Spell of Phyrexian Espionage, but I'm going to take Goblin Morale Sergeant here, try some of these Alchemy cards out if we can. If we can end up more heavy into red and more aggressive, this card's pretty fun. The thing I really like about this is Haste and Enlist are 2 really powerful abilities that makes this a great top deck late in the game, because then you can just haste this out and list your biggest creature, and all of a sudden your opponent can't have any great blocks for it. And you're getting a duplicate of your biggest creature into your top 5. So the Morale Sergeant, weirdly enough, it looks like this hyper aggro card, but it's actually just a great top deck late in the game. We've got a Vesuvian Mist here to take another Alchemy card. We do have the Tangled Islet already, and this one's really fun. Bounce an opposing card and conjure duplicate into your hand. Pretty hard to cast, though. You need blue, black, and 2 to conjure the duplicate into your hand, but we'll go for it here. Sojourner is probably the safest pick, but Geothermal Bog is probably the pick that we're supposed to make. Get another duel there. But we're going to go for Vesuvian Mist. Do some very splashy domainy stuff here. Should be fun. Vine Shaper Prodigy is pretty great. A dual land is pretty great. And that is about it. Actually, there is a Destroy Evil, which is great removal, but we now have 2 pieces of interaction, and we don't have any white cards yet. Now we have a Hurloon Battle Hymn and a Vesuvan Mist to interact with opposing threats. Hopefully we don't need the Destroy Evil that badly, and we can stay a little light on white. The easiest way to run these domain decks is to have 1 or 2 like core colors and then splash in a couple more. So we're hoping to end up maybe, it's looking like probably green-red at the core, and then splash a tiny bit of black, tiny bit of blue. Hopefully we don't have to splash in blue, black, and white. So Magnagoth Sentry is very good at getting you this mid-range little blocker in the middle of the game that can lock down all of your opponents' like 2-drop and 3-drop creatures, make sure those aren't hitting you. So Magnagoth Sentry, a great defensive play, probably what I'm looking for here. Although Hydromancer is nice late in the game. Give you duplicate of something and Librarian's fine, but I'm going to take Sentry. Just a good defensive body there. It's got reach as well, which is pretty important. This pack isn't great. Slimefoot Survey makes the most sense for us, but it's a very, very high investment. 5 mana for something that doesn't impact the board in any way. But that being said, I'm probably not playing Academy Wall, so I'll just take it anyway. Now we have Coalition Warbrute in red, Elfame Worm in green, Tolarian Terror still around in blue is pretty huge. Pun intended. Oh, I mean, Tolarian Terror is the best card here, but it is blue, which is awkward. Green and red are easier to hit. I think I'm still taking Tolarian Terror. This card's just phenomenal. We did wheel Yavimaya Sojourner. Very happy to see that one. There's a Shield Wall Sentinel I can pick up here just to make sure the Defender's deck doesn't get it. If I want to waste a pick for the greater good of the format, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take a Relic of Legends, which can be solid. If our mana doesn't end up being great, and we only have 2 dual lands right now, so it might not end up being great. Meteorite's far worse than Relic of Legends at 5 mana. It does potentially kill something when it comes into play, though, and Snare Spinner doesn't do much, so we'll take some mediocre mana rocks here, a couple meteorites here. Some mediocre mana rocks, should I say? Alright, what do we have here for pack 2? We've got a Bloodsprouts Talisman. Fun card. It can do some cool combo-y things in constructed formats where you can make one of your cards like free to cast, something that like returns to your hand or comes back from grave or something, and try to loop that card, but it doesn't do much in limited, so I'm not really going for that here. This whole pack doesn't do much in limited. I mean, that's a lie. There are some very powerful cards here. They're just far from what we're doing in our domain deck here. Electrostatic Infantry, great in red-blue spells. Elas Ilkor, incredible in black-white decks. Monstrous Warleech is sick in self-mill decks. I think we're just taking Tribute to Urborg. We're pretty low on interaction here, and this is a pretty decent one. This will up our instant sorcery count to make the Tolarian Terror better as well, so scoop up a Tribute to Urborg here, I suppose. The Alchemy card out of this pack is a Juggernaut Peddler. 2 mana, 2/2 in white-black, pretty hard to cast. It replaces a card from your opponent's hand with a Juggernaut. So it needs something pretty good in hand for you to be getting a lot of value off this card. Something pretty good to downgrade into a Juggernaut. I think we're probably just taking Morrow. Although another Hurloon Battle Hymn is another very solid choice, and an Essence Scatter. Essence Scatter, Battle Hymn, and Morrow. All pretty huge. Either we're not opening duels or people are scooping them up real quickly here. That could be an issue. I'm going to take the Morrow. Yeah, it's getting sketchy. No duels here again. The Alchemy card is a vehicle tribal card here, a vehicle synergy card, which does not do much in this format. There's like no vehicles. But it is a 3 mana 3/2 flyer, which is nice. Not something nice for our deck, though. Probably just taking Extinguish the Light for more removal. And we're pushing heavier into black so that we can cast that more easily. Yep, it's between Extinguish the Light and like a Relic of Legends or something. Not anything fantastic in there. We now have a Tail Swipe or a Diminished Returner, and we're getting to the point where mana-wise we might be wanting to try to play like green-black splash blue just to make the mana base as easy as possible, rather than a full domain sort of deck. Because dual lands are just dried up. There's no dual lands here. So if that is the case, we don't have a lot of creatures to Tail Swipe with, so I think we have to take Diminished Returner first. Normally, if I hadn't like recontextualized the deck as green-black as the core here, I would have never even considered Diminished Returner because the double black would be really, really hard, but we might just turn into some Golgari pile because we can't get the dual lands. It feels, yeah, like a Crystal Grotto here. Somebody is cutting us off of domain really, really hard, so we're going to end up just some green-black pile, which is fine. We only had to cut like 4 cards. Ideally, we'll end up cutting these meteorites and stuff too, but a little sad, a little sad. Would have loved to be the domain deck here, but you do what you can. Battlefly Swarm is best card for us in just green-black. Pixie Illusionist is fine for helping splash if blue is one of our core colors, but blue is the splash, so obviously playing a blue card to splash for your blue mana doesn't make much sense. Well, there's 3 dual lands here. Maybe we were just horrifically unlucky in the pack distribution of dual lands there. None of these are green dual lands as well, which is not very helpful. Geothermal Bog is decently helpful, but I feel like Floriferous Vine Wall is probably just more so digging for a land out of the top 6 cards of our library. But yeah, Geothermal Bog would help us get this Battle Hymn in, which could be nice, but I'll take the Vine Wall first. Some good white cards, but we're not really in white at all. Probably just taking a Gaia's Might here. Impulse would be okay if we're playing a lot of blue, but I think it's just a tiny bit. We'll take a Gaia's Might. Solid trick if you can get +3/+3 or more. Choking Miasma is nice against more aggressive strategies, especially since we don't have a lot of cheap cards right now. We don't have a lot of cheap creatures to trade off into theirs. This is a way to clear the board against mainly white aggro decks that are making a bunch of tokens. Obviously, it's really bad in some matchups. If we play against a super slow, grindy domain deck and then we draw into Choking Miasma, we will be very disappointed, but against white aggro decks, we'll be incredibly happy. Warleech is fine, but as our only self-mill card, it doesn't feel great. We do have 2 cost reduction cards, though, so it could be like a 7/7 or 8/8, which is cool. Almost rather just take a Snare Spinner, so I know I have a cheap blocker. And I think I'm going to do that, because this is a cheap blocker against more aggressive strategies that can also survive our Choking Miasma, which is pretty big. I guess we're taking another. Okay, well at this point there's literally no reason not to hate draft a Shield Wall Sentinel. This is all nonsense. I will take these Broken Wings and learn to shove it in my sideboard. Alright, final pack. Let's get some goodies, shall we? Well, Territorial Mara would have been a goodie if there was more than one pack in pack 2 that had dual lands in it. I think we're probably just on Phyrexian Rager, the great value play here. The Walmart off-brand value. The 3 mana 2/2, draw a card, lose a life when it enters the battlefield. Make sure you're still fueled with plays throughout the game. Seems fine to me. Oh, I didn't even notice what the Alchemy card was in that pack. I've been trying to mention it each time. This time it's the blue-red duplicate a spell thing. It's not very playable. Splash a Mirror's Outrider here, because there's nothing in green or blue anyway. There's a Colossal Growth and a Sengir Connoisseur, neither of which are particularly exciting. I'll splash a Mirror's Outrider, which is a pretty exciting splash. You get a green-red duel to help with that splash, and that'll actually make the Morrow a lot better. That being said, Urborg Repossession is phenomenal, especially when you can return things like Magnagoth Sentry, or not Magnagoth Sentry, like Namata and Yavimaya Sojourner, just like some big dorks. Urborg Repossession would be phenomenal here, but this Wooded Ridgeline helps make the Morrow more playable. Yeah, this is kind of rough, but I think I am taking that. Alright, well, we're getting some payoffs in like the last pack. Now we have the Weather Seed Treaty, which tutors for any basic land, puts it into play, then gives us a Sapperling to help us block, and then does a nice big Trample Swing, +X/+X and Trample, where X is number of basic land types among our lands. Pretty huge. The Alchemy card, Vine Soul Spider here, not the craziest thing ever, mainly a 2 mana 3/2 reach, which is nice for the mana cost, but not massively impressive. The ability to mill random lands from your library is okay, helps so you don't flood out. definitely a Haunted Mire here. Splash for Prayer Binding would be a little difficult. I'm going to take Haunted Mire over Vine Wall because green and black are the core colors of our deck, so Haunted Mire is an incredibly helpful dual land. Vine Shaper Prodigy at the 4-drop slot. It's also flexible because we can play it on 2 if we're really getting beaten down, but I almost never want to do that. But yeah, I like Prodigy since it's flexible at 2 or 4, wherever we really need it. Magnetos great too, but this is a pretty good value play. We're definitely splashing enough blue to kick that somewhat consistently. Another Weather Seed Treaty, alright, come on in. And here's the dual lands. Might have just been a weird draft pod where the number of dual lands opened up in these packs was low. I am going to take a Weather Seed Treaty over a dual land though, since it does tutor for a land, so it helps fix as well. And really helps up that domain. Another Yavimaya Sojourner, pretty great pickup. Nothing much, 2/5. If I run Relic of Legends and double Meteorite, Trove Mage might do something, but I don't think I'm running all those. I guess Mana Worker survives our -2/-2 spell as well, and I don't love Colossal Growth or the 4 mana 2/5 in a domain deck like this. Alright, already own all of these. If you ever want to check for your own collection, just hold down the Alt key during the draft. Just seeing if there was anything to rare draft, and there is not, so we're just going to shove a Soaring Drake in the sideboard. I don't think that card is making the cut, but it's possible. Take a Colossal Growth. Automatic Librarian might actually make the cut, because we can cast it no matter what's going on with our mana base. Double blue counterspell, not going to make the cut here. That's too difficult of a splash. Okay. We're definitely cutting the Meteorites and probably cutting the Relic of Legends as well. Running one of every land type for the double Weather Seed Treaty so that we can hit full domain. We need to cut 4 cards total, so double Meteorite, get out of here immediately. Very easy cut there. Okay, what's the count? It's looking like 16 creatures, 9 non-creatures, kind of plenty of both. Cut whatever we want for these last 2. Slimefoot Survey's a glacially slow card, and we do have double Weather Seed Treaty now, accomplishing the same thing. Kind of same with Relic of Legends. 3 mana to ramp you up a mana. Weather Seed Treaty doing the same thing. 3 mana to ramp us up a mana, and it actually impacts the board later, giving us a blocker and then getting some extra damage in there. So I feel like Slimefoot Survey and Relic of Legends are just worse than the double Weather Seed Treaty. So those could be the easiest cuts here. We could also cut like one of these Snare Spinners or something to keep a Relic of Legends in or something like that, but I'm pretty cool with just cutting those 2 and calling it a deck. Let's see how the mana base is looking though real quick. 12 green, 7 black, 2 blue, and 1 red. 12 green, we're sitting at 8 green sources. That is perfectly fine by me. We're sitting at 7 black sources. Pretty good, pretty good. As for red sources, we've got 2 for our 1 Miria's Outrider, but we have 2 Weather Seed Treaty that can pull out the mountain. And for blue sources, we have 3 for our 2 blue cards. But that's 3 blue sources plus 2 Weather Seed Treaty. We're pretty good on mana base. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of here is that we don't have a Plains in the deck to tutor with the Weather Seed Treaty if we draw out late game and just want to hit full domain. But I think we have to just deal with that, because I don't think it's worth cutting the 8th green source to put in a Plains. It's definitely not worth cutting the 7th black source to put in a Plains, because with black we have multiple double black cards. I mean, it honestly might be worth, even though we have more green than black in this deck, it might be worth running 8 black sources and 7 green just because we have 3 double black cards. And no double greens. I'm actually going to do that. And yeah, we definitely don't have room to throw Plains in here because we're doing... we're upping those green-black counts. Oh, I did it the wrong way. I did it the straight opposite way. That would have been really bad. 5, 6, 7, 8 green sources. 7, 8 black sources. Yeah, so we needed to do it this way. So 4, 5, 6, 7 green sources and 7, 8 black sources. There we go. That's what we wanted. So we know we can Choking Miasma, Extinguish the Light, so on. Battlefly Storm seems pretty counterintuitive with the Choking Miasma if we have anything else that could make the cut, but I don't think we really do. I mean, I could cut a Battlefly Swarm. Excuse me, I could cut a Battlefly Swarm for a Slimefoot Survey or something. Oh, we've got a Hurloon Battle Hymn. That's true, we've got a Hurloon Battle Hymn sitting in the sideboard. We could cut one of our more mediocre random cheap creatures that doesn't make much sense in the deck for more relatively cheap interaction, although we'd have to hit one of our 2 red sources to cast it, which could be rough. Got a Mana Worker as well, that helps. Yeah, one of these swarms. Maybe the Snare Spinner or something. Yeah, I'm just going to cut the swarm and put the hymn in. A little bit of a rough splash for the hymn. Do I cut down to 7 red sources so I can be up to, or 7 black sources so I can be up to 3 red? Or do I just rely on Weatherseed Treaties and Mana Workers? I think I just rely on these 2 still. Again, all these double blacks. Mana base is definitely a bit rough, but as you saw during the draft, there were definitely in pack 2, there were just like no opportunities for duels. I think we had 1 opportunity. It was kind of awkward there. Pack distribution wise, I think. Last pack got us there very much with the double Weatherseed Treaty. That was incredibly helpful. But yeah, this seems like a fine place for the mana to be. We'll just sometimes lose to being unable to cast a Battle Hymn. We're just going to have to accept that. I think this is the mana base, and I think this is the deck. Alright, here we have the deck we'll be playing today. This is a domain deck with green and black at the core. Pack 1, pick 1 Namada, stuck to that. Went a little domainy early on, got kind of pushed out of that in pack 2 due to a lack of dual lands, but then pack 3 paid us off with a couple Weatherseed Treaties and a couple more duels, so we are kind of going domain here. Again, green-black at the core, so we have bunch of green creatures and black removal spells, Extinguish the Light, Choking Miasma, Tribute to Urborg type stuff. In green, we've got the big dorks, the Yavimaya Sojourner, the Territorial Morrow, Magnagoth Sentry, and Namada. And then for the splashy stuff we're doing with Domain, a little bit more removal, a little bit more interaction with Hurloon Battle Hymn and Vesuvan Mist, and a couple more finishers, potentially with the Tolarian Terror and Miria's Outrider. So if all goes well and we draw our mana well, we've kind of got everything set up here. We have creatures throughout the game. We have multiple large enough creatures to end a game pretty quickly, and multiple decent pieces of interaction and removal. The biggest issue here, the biggest risk here is going to be hitting the correct colors of mana at the right time. We have 8 black sources, 7 green sources, but then the off colors like the blue for Vesuvan Mist, we only have 3 sources of, and the red for Miria's Outrider and Battle Hymn we only have 2 sources of, so we're relying a lot on the Weatherseed Treaty and Mana Worker to make this deck function, but hopefully all works out for us, fingers crossed, and we'll see how it does as we head into the gameplay. Alright, here we are game 1. Mana's looking pretty great thanks to the Mana Worker, so we'll just keep this here. Relatively early Yavimaya Sojourner as well. It's 5 mana right now as the maximum that it'll cost us. So 5 mana 4/6, not bad at all, especially when we have a 4-drop anyway to play on turn 4. Couple cheap instants to cast before we try to cast the Tolarian Terror, so that can get a little bit of a cost reduction as well. Playing against green, white, black, looks like a domain deck with Llanowar, Green Widow to start off. That is pretty disappointing for us. A 4/3 reach trample that gets to come back from the graveyard one time is going to be really hard to fight through. It's going to be pretty much a 2-for-1 no matter what. Have to spend 2 creatures or 2 removal spells to get rid of that. I do have Gaia's Might for +3/+3 right now if I hold up a mana, but I think it's more important to try to draw this card here and make sure I don't miss a land drop if possible. So just dig through my deck as quickly as I can here to keep playing lands this game. No attacks, they're happy with that. Now we do have 5 mana, so we are not missing a land drop anytime soon. Could kick a Vineshaper Prodigy since they're already choosing to not attack. Don't think I need to hold up Gaia's Might on the defensive, so let's kick this Prodigy. Get some more value. Miri's Outrider definitely better than the Automatic Librarian here. We do have the red source, even if the Mana Worker dies. Timeless Lotus. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, opponent can do anything with their mana next turn. That could be really, really bad for us. Well, probably want to try to just aggro out as quickly as possible, so we just attack with everybody. If they block, we Gaia's Might and hold up a Tribute to Urborg. And if they don't block, then we play a 4/6 or something. Alright, we're holding up a kicked Tribute to Urborg for -3/-3. So if they just bring back the Green Widow, then we'll just spend that on it. Which is a little rough, we'd have to 2-for-1 ourselves for it. Solkanar. Okay, that's devastating. And all they had to do was tap the Lotus for it as well. Yeah, that's really bad. We do not have enough instants in grave to get rid of that, and we won't for some time. We do -3/-3. So I guess I could try to kill it on blocks. I'm massively lucky, but it might be better to just kill this Root Waller right now. While I have the 4 mana up, so I can kill Root Waller and then untap and drop a creature with all my mana. Root Wall is a 5/5 whenever they activate it. They have 10 mana on board right now. This might come back to bite me, but I just can't like rely on drawing into more instants and sorceries, and trying to use this during combat is unlikely to work out that well as well. Diminished Returner, we got a bunch of big dorks. Probably just cast the dork that's big enough to attack into Solkanar. And pass. There's the barricade, so they can just sacrifice Solkanar before they have to give me the Solkanar. So the full value gets to kill one of our creatures now. They've got a Miri's Outrider as well to block with. Oh, and there goes our mana fixing. On the plus side, this means that Solkanar is going to get sacrificed in a little bit. Extinguish the light. Got the mana up to sacrifice something in response to that. Just play a 4/6, make sure we have blockers for everything they're doing. They are going to absolute value town over there. Let's see if Terror clears out the barricade so they can't sacrifice the Solkanar. They have mana up for tricks and stuff too. I'm just gonna pass. Like, that attack isn't that great if they have 0 tricks, and it's pretty bad if they have any. Because if they have 0 tricks, they just block with a 2/4 and a 4/4. And that's already not a great deal. So, unless there was like a big upside for them not having tricks there, then I don't think it's worth the attack. Alright, Green Widow's back. They've got the mana up for the barricade. They are going to sack the Solkanar before they give it to us. Unfortunate. Yeah, we couldn't do anything about that. They had the mana for barricade this turn and last turn. They're always holding it up, playing it really safe. We could have killed the barricade and they couldn't have drained the 2 life from us, but I would rather have given them the opportunity to maybe tap out of the mana potentially. Weatherseed Treaty and Diminished Returner. Suppose that's where I'm at here. Grab our island. Nobody's really getting in right now. So the opponent is a few cards, it's multiple cards ahead of us in terms of card advantage, but actually no, we're actually a little ahead of them somehow still. From just Phyrexian Rager and tutoring out of land with Weather Seed and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of whoever finds the way to break through the board stall first. Send in the Solkanar. Trade Sojourner into a trick here. They have one. Lightning Strike for Phyrexian Rager rather than Sojourner. Maybe they have something to destroy big creatures, like a Destroy Evil or something they're planning to use. I guess they just did not like Phyrexian Rager. Get our Saproling. We can hold up Extinguish the Lights. See if we can find our 1 planes. We did not find our 1 planes. Get a 3rd black mana here. I only have 1 more blue card in the deck and it's single blue, but with black cards I have a lot of double black. So I could draw into like a 1 mana black card I end up wanting to cast. I think I'm kind of okay to send in the Tolarian Terror, and it's possible they block pretty poorly. The Gibbering Barricade is just disgusting here though, because they just always have the mana up for it because they have like infinite mana off this Timeless Lotus. I guess it's less the Gibbering Barricade that's disgusting here, and the Timeless Lotus plus Gibbering Barricade combo, where they have spent 9 mana, but they still have the 3 up to use the Barricade. I guess since Returner comes back no matter what, we just trade this thing off willy-nilly instead. We are dealing 4 damage. Cool. Don't think there's a lot of reasons I would need an Extinguish the Light next turn. Like, this board is wide. So let's just get the Outrider out while we have the mana for it. Put them down to 12 now. If they kick a Phyrexian Espionage, that'd be pretty disgusting. 5 mana, draw 2, make us discard a card. Vortuck Bone Rattle. Well, that's even worse, because that brings back Solkanar. Only to hand, because they don't have full domain. But they can recast it next turn. I could Extinguish the Light their Barricade in response to them casting Solkanar, which is kind of cute. But I might be trying to find a big Extinguish the Light on blocks here. Could do it on Returner. I think I want to do it on Terror and try to get them to stack up multiple blockers there and then Extinguish in response. This game goes long. They're outvaluing us with Gibbering Barricade and Solkanar pretty badly. I have the mana to play Sojourner and Extinguish the Light post-combat here. I think we just try to see how much damage I can possibly get in this turn. Something like that, and then I'm going to have another Sojourner on blocks. Outrider for Outrider. That is monumentally tempting to extinguish the light, but then I can't kill their barricade. But I would kill all of those without losing a creature. Their board state is down to a barricade and Solkanar. I'm pretty sure I just win. Not immediately, but if their board state is just Solkanar barricade, I win in a couple turns. So I'm pretty sure I extinguish the light here off this triple block. Blow up the sentry. Trample over. They do gain a life, draw a card in response to me casting Extinguish the Light, but this is still definitely the play. So I'm about to play another 4/6 as well. And they could sacrifice another blocker, but then they either take more trample damage if they sack one of these, or they don't kill a creature if they sack one of those. Yeah, so they're just going to sack the one. They go down to 6 with just barricade. I'm pretty sure we're there. Pretty sure we're good. If they don't have a board wipe, then that should be game for us. I mean, they have two blockers. They go block, block, take 4, 5, 6, 7. But they get to gain a little bit of life off of Solkanar's end step ability, and they might have more spells to cast because they do have, yet again, they have like 12 mana here. So if they have more to cast than just Solkanar, there are plenty of ways they could survive next turn at the bare minimum. And definitely some ways that they could stabilize entirely. But we're just going to hope they don't have those. Codex is pretty dang big, but it does not put a creature on board right now. So they have to do the life gain ability on Solkanar to survive another attack. And they have to block 5, 5, 4, 6 and take 4, 5, 6, 7, go to 1 life, which means they have to block in a way where they're not just like killing our 2/2 for free. So we do attack with everybody, because all the blocks that they make are going to be bouncing or facing each other, defeating each other. Yep, go for the life gain, makes sense. Namada's a beautiful draw, and now we're just golden. Now we are golden. Yep, they are going to scoop them up there. That is going to be 1-0 to start this draft off. Here we are in game 2. Awkward mana here, no black mana with 2 double black cards. We do have a Vine Shaper Prodigy on 4, but I feel like this has got to be a mulligan. That's the only castable card in the hand. We need 2 more lands for Morrow. We need double black for these 2. Rough hand there. This is equally awkward, but at least green and black are our main colors, and we have the Weatherseed Treaty. It is actually a lot more reasonable. It looks just as awkward, but Weatherseed Treaty, Automatic Librarian, so these cards help a lot. Scry into more lands, tutor out more lands. Whatever color we need, which looks to be blue. We did draw into a blue card here. Priest of Possibility gets all keyword abilities of creatures in the top 7 cards of the library, which looks like Reach. 2 mana, 2/2 Reach. Cute, but doesn't matter much. I could Weatherseed Treaty for a mountain and then play Beachfront next turn, and I have full domain, which means Sojourner costs 3. Seems like a pretty solid line to me. I think that's where we want to be. Because now I'm ramping up and I'm playing a 4/6 next turn, which is a huge blocker if our opponent doesn't have removal like Destroy Evil. Yavimaya Iconoclast, 2 mana, 3/2 trample. I think they're very aggro. Choking Miasma is going to be real nice in the future. If I can use that on a turn where I have the domain trigger on the Saproling to where none of my creatures die, that's going to be awesome. We'll see. Love Song of Night and Day. They get a 1/1 bird that can also die to choke miasma. Oh, they're gonna have each player draw 2. I'm very happy with that. That doesn't happen super often. But our opponent is stuck on mana there, so they need it desperately enough to do that, but I'm always happy to draw cards. They have 5 power over there, so we just attack both and then choking miasma. I could still hold this because we know they're getting a bird next turn, but I can bounce the bird as well. Kind of want to just beat their face. Yeah, a little greedy here, but it's a 2-for-1. I'll just take it right there immediately and stay very firmly on the aggressive. Nalish, Faithbonder, a bunch of little dorks. Our Sojourner's still looking great. If they find a multi-block that kills something, we can Vesuvian Mist. In response to the blocks. This just bounces off of Faithbonder, or they trade if they want, so we just send in Sojourner. Hit for 4, they're down to 6 now. We have 7 mana. I can kick a Prodigy and play a Librarian. Or I could just play a Terror. Let's get some draws set up here. See if I can find more removal to clear the path, stuff like that. Or a 10/10. 10/10 works too. Take that. And there's the removal as well. Thank you, Automatic Librarian. Feels like I've really got the hook up here. Counter on Faithbonder is pretty strong here. Lets them get that Vigilant attack here. Counter on Sleeper is okay. Makes it better at stacking up into killing the Yavimaya Sojourner. What secrets lie in your hand, opponent? I guess I could still trade one of my 2/2s 1-for-1 into the Faithbonder there. Okay, we've got an Extinguish the Lights. I could just Vesuvian Mist on blocks though instead of that, which I think is probably going to be better. Yeah, I should have double blocked Faithbonder, because that's such a good blocker here. We just need that out of the way to get more attacks in. I don't think kicking the Mist to get a 3 on my hand is that valuable. When instead of doing that with the mana, I can just cast a Territorial Marrow. I guess it doesn't matter too much which one I pick. If I picked Sleeper, then they can't win the fight with like Gaia's Might. Gaia's Might's still just a trade though. Join forces. 2-for-1 trade. I can accept that, or I can extinguish the Sleeper. Yeah, I'm killing their Sleeper and getting join forces out of their hand. That seems fine to me. And then I just play the big old Marrow. And we've dealt with the 2-4, so... Well, 2-3 is bad. I was gonna say, we've dealt with the 2-4, so all these 2/2s can get in, but then Griffin Protector arrived at a 2-3 status. kind of want to just kill that, but then I can't play Tolarian Terror this turn. But then they go block, block, take 4. Yeah, they're going to die really quickly if I just kill this here instead. So let's do that. Because now they have to chump Morrow and block the 3-2. Go to 2. Do still have a Spider to play. Another Griffin Protector. And a Banalish Sleeper. 3 blockers against 4 attackers, but one of my attackers has 1 power, so they survive with 1 life. Unless I top deck that. Then they go to like -4 no matter what. Pretty good guy as might draw. And that'll be 2-0 now. Here we are now, game 3. We got green, black, and blue mana. We've got a Rager to play. We've got the double black for these cards. That'll be a keep. That will for sure be a keep. I'll play the Mire first to get to this double black as efficiently as possible. Arvad. Weatherlight Smuggler. Death Touch Lifelinker keeps getting bigger as creatures die. Yep, that's scary. I'd like to trade a Phyrexian Rager into that if I can. That's a no. Tribute to Urborgon, Phyrexian Rager. And then play a Battlefly Swarm. Well, now we're just going to choke in Miasma to kill both of those, because if I wait another turn, another creature might die. Although they're probably not killing their own creatures, so we probably Weatherseed Treaty. We can still do that and see if they set up more creatures to die to the Miasma. Yeah, if they don't kill their own creature here, I should be safe to Weatherseed Treaty first. Although then I am going to kill the Sapperling that comes out of it, but that's not the end of the world. Ooh, that does make that Choke in Miasma even better. That does make that Choke Miasma way better. Alright, we're going to have to say goodbye to our Sapperling friend here. I may as well get a counter on my Mana Worker when I cast the Miasma. If they have some 1-mana way to save Arvad, that's going to be horrific for me, but I cannot think of one in the format, so... Alright, sick. Since if they had a 1-mana way to save Arvad, it would be like a 6 power or something. It's only the beginning of their end step. Okay, so it wasn't gonna do anything. Alright, and then you just do nothing that turn. Alright, send in a 6/8 then. Are they just out of stuff after the board wipe? That would be pretty good for me. 3 mana after this. I'd rather just play Sojourner. Writhing Necromass. That will get extinguished. Don't have enough black to play the Returner after this. Actually, I can off of Mana Worker, luckily. Thank you, Mana Worker. Very cool. Choking Miasma, just putting in mountains of work today, clearing out an Arvad, Banalish Cavalier and the 1/1 that came from it, and a Battlefly Swarm that game, and really completely tilting the game in our favor. That is going to be 3-0 now for this Domain deck. Here we are now in game 4. We don't have a red source, but we have green and blue for Prodigy. We have a black source. We have a Vine Wall to try to dig for a land. I think this will be a keep. Hoping things go decently well, but if Vine Wall doesn't completely miss, we know we have a turn 4 Vine Shaper Prodigy. Okay, turn 3 Librarian, that also helps set up our draws. We do hit the red source, beautiful. Unfortunately, choking miasma just went to the bottom there if our opponent's aggressive, but they did start with a Crystal Grotto, could be a very multicolored deck here. An island is what they play. Play the Ridgeline, then I have the Battle Hymn ready as soon as possible. I think I'd rather curve out here, play Librarian into Prodigy. Have Battle Hymn late in the game here. Scry into 2 lands. I'm good on that. I've got 5 already. Second black is a little interesting. Might keep a swamp. Potentially. Don't have any double black cards in hand, but I will need a second black later. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to flood out, but really don't want to have... Oh, wait, no, I have second black. Never mind. Don't know what happened there. That was a big brain fart. For some reason, I thought I didn't have double black. This is still fine. I probably wasn't looking at the swamp on the board, is what happened. I could just Gaia's Might that Djinn. Alright, cool. We'll Battle Hymn it instead later. What do you got, Prodigy? Namata. Extinguish the Light, Diminished Returner. I think I'm taking Namata. Well, if we flood out this game, that brain fart could cost us this game, because we definitely would have exacerbated it there, keeping the third swamp. Third swamp can still be useful, like if we do draw into Diminished Returner or something, but I think we've put most of those on the bottom. Most of our double blacks at this point. Miasma's on bottom, Extinguish just went to the bottom. So yeah, it's pretty unlikely the swamp ends up being all that valuable to us. Namata hold up Gaia's Might. We're being very mana efficient here. We've spent all of our mana every turn. The issue with that is we haven't had time to play our tap land to get our Heirloom Battle Hymn to be active, which could be an issue. Because it would have been great at any point to kill this Djinn, but now they have a shore up in their hand, so if they ever have a blue up, we cannot just Battle Hymn the Djinn. Opponent is on green-blue, and they have a white-black dual land, the Sunlit Marsh. That could be just for a domain, but could also be helping them hit colors they're actually planning to cast something with. I think we attack all here. Like, the only way they kill any of our creatures is if they cast their shore up or some other combat trick in hand. Maybe I don't attack with Namata, but I definitely attack with everybody else. I think I'm going to attack with just straight up everybody. Maro's a 10-10 here, so even if they spend removal on Namata, we're going to have a great threat to follow up with. Alright, we need to play multiple tricks to kill this Namata, especially because I can make Namata a 5-6. Gaia's Might, that does not do it. Because Namata can be a 5-6. So we force them to cast Shore Up as well here, but then I can't cast Maro. That's a rough choice, because we know that they have the Shore Up to win this fight. If I sack this Saproling. If I had one more mana, and I knew I could just play Morrow afterward anyway, maybe I shouldn't have played the tap land yet. Then I could have went Swamp Morrow here, but then I'm still centuries away from playing Battle Hymn. It's also very possible they just have Essence Scatter, because they look to be blue at the center of their deck, and they have 4 other cards in their hand we don't know about? Sure. I mean, this also plays around Scatter. Let's just get the Shore Up out of their hand. Since we've already played the red source, we know we can battle him later if they don't have a Shore Up in hand. We're just gonna let that happen. Okay, Namada's gonna stick around then. I guess they were playing around like an Extinguished Light or something. Because then, yeah, if they tried to cast Shore Up there and then I could just respond with Extinguish the Light or something, that would have been very bad for them, so I understand the play there from our opponent. Play around that instant speed removal. Territorial Morrow, and they're holding up the Shore Up. And with Morrow, we're not going to get in anymore, which is unfortunate. They are at 9 life, and here we are, definitely getting punished for keeping that swamp in hand, thinking I only had 1. Getting punished for the suboptimal scry. We just need a little more action here to break through this board. Well, we know they don't have scatter, so the play is Morrow. They only have 1 mana up. Oh no, Haughty Djinn makes it cheaper. Can't really play around the Essence Scatter anyway, and it looks like they didn't have it, which is quite lucky for us. Yeah, I totally forgot the flavor text at the bottom. Instants and sorceries cost 1 less to cast. Because it works so well with 1 mana instants that often your opponent's just playing like Shore Up and Gaia's Might and stuff, and it's easy to forget. It's also making them cheaper. So yeah, they can hold up an Essence Scatter with only 1 mana. Tail swipe my Namada. Not enjoyable. Morrow's coming in with a Shore Up as backup. Morrow can kill Morrow. I mean, I can just crack into them with my 10-10 if I just let this one in. If they like take up the shield, this game is so over. Take up the shield in 8-8 or 9-9. Oh my god, Weatherseed Treaty? If they don't have a bounce spell here, they're flat dead. And I don't need more lands, so I think I just go for it. Fingers crossed, no instant speed removal here. +5/+5 trample. If I put it on Librarian, that's 8 power with trample. Block, take 4. They die to these. They have to block here. 3, 8, 9, 10. If I put it here, it's lethal to that stuff, and it plays a little better against a single target removal that can kill anything. But if it's like Tribute to Urborg or something, it's better to just put it on Morrow. I want to just put it on Morrow. I don't want to like put it on Library and just get tributed. I'm just putting it on Morrow. Hoping they just have Shore Up here. Yeet. Yeah, Shore Up and block Morrow. Now that Shore Up's out of their hand, we just kill Djinn and kill them, right? Trample for 6, they take 5 more. Yeah, as I said before, if their hand is just Shore Up, they're just dead. It's double Shore Up. God dang it. Yeah, that gets us bad. That gets us quite badly here. They go to 3. They go to 1 life at least. Oh, no, they can double block? They're going to double block Morrow? That's potentially fine. Oh, yeah, they scooped them up. Okay. I thought that was going to be really bad for us. I was going to say they could block Morrow with their Morrow. And then block the Librarian there. They take 4 damage from that. No, 6 from that and 2 from that. They would be at 1 life and they'd still have a Djinn. I would not have a Librarian. Yeah, I guess that's not that bad, because I'd still have a Morrow and a Prodigy. And then their board would only be the Djinn. Which is 4/4. Okay. Yeah, that was scary, the double trick, but it was not as bad as I thought it was. They needed like triple trick to really win the game. Double trick does definitely save them that turn though. But yeah, unlikely to win after that since we'd still have the Morrow, especially off the double block play where they lose both creatures. All right. Very, very good stuff from this deck today. We're now 4-0. Cannot be unhappy with that. We're pretty much breaking even. We're down 100 gems, but we are up 3 packs and the 3 packs that we drafted from. So essentially at the break-even point in Premier Drafts, the 4 wins here. If we go any farther, we are going to be just straight up in the value. So let's try our best to do that and see where we end up. All right, we're on the play here with a Weatherseed Treaty. If I can hit 1 land. A little sketchy. We have to hit that 1 land, but Mana Worker fixes our mana. When we hit that land, we have a Librarian to Scry as well. Bit of a greedy 2-lander here, but fingers crossed. 1 land and the world is ours. We are at a 47% chance of drawing a land, and we got there. We won on coin flip number 1. Feels pretty good. I might rather Librarian first than Treaty and try to just pressure my opponent while they don't have anything on board. Librarian into a land in the top 2. Yeah, sure, beachfront. A little sad to ditch Miri's Outrider, but take the beachfront, play the Weatherseed Treaty next turn, so we're just going to shuffle the Outrider back in anyway. Could end up back on top if we're lucky. Yep, Treaty for Mountain next turn. Although it might arguably be better to just Treaty for a second Swamp because of the double black cards we have in our deck, but I think I still want a Treaty for Mountain to have full 5 domain. Make this Gaia's Might and the Weatherseed Treaty in hand even stronger. So for now, let's hold up a Gaia's Might in this combat, in case something very strange happens. Maybe they have the 2 mana flash in 2 1/1s or something. Stall for time. Okay, they're just going to tap them down and draw 1 card. That is super fine by me. Because now they are tapped out. We know they don't have a negate or anything weird for the treaty. And we'll have our full domain on board. Vine Shaper Prodigy kicked. At least the Addarkar Wastes is helping us out a little bit here, getting some damage done to our opponent. But pretty good value play for them. Probably just playing our own Prodigy this turn. Yep, I don't have the mana for Terror yet. Do I trade a Gaia's Might into the Prodigy or save this for +5/+5 later? I feel like I'm saving this for +5/+5 later. Attack both, let Librarian trade into Prodigy, seems fine. So I can get a really big Gaia's Might with on a +5/+5 Trampler next turn, potentially. Ooh, Vesuvan Mist. Morrow is huge, but Mist I can hold up right now, and if they play anything really good, I could kick it. Like with Vesuvian Mist, if they tap out for one good blocker, I hit for 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 10. I hit for 14. I guess it's not quite lethal. Maybe we are just on Morrow. If I could hit for 16 off a Mist, 100% be worth it. But if I missed, I get to miss their blocker, and then I get to Gaia's Might, hit them down to like 2 life, and play a Terror in the same turn, because I'll have Instants Engrave at that point. I'm going to keep Mist. I'm going to keep Mist. It is awkward, because Morrow is also huge. But Mist seems like perfect. I have the exact mana to hold it up if my opponent just taps out for one big blocker here. I can make that play go devastatingly poorly for them. Alright, tapping out for 2 1/1 blockers is a-okay with me. So I think we let that happen. Now we actually do want to top deck a land to actually play the Terror though, which is awkward. Yep, no Terror this turn. Maybe I should have missed it a 1/1 just so I know I could play Terror this turn. That might have been a poor choice on my end there. But we're still in a very good position. And now I can hold up the ability to kick a Vesuvian Mist here. So we're going to kill both the soldiers and hit them for 6, 7. Could hit them for 12 here if I want. I think I'd rather just hit them for 12 than save the Prodigy. Although I can still have the Gaia's Might. I can play Vine Wall and hold up kicked Vesuvian Mist next turn. Playing a lot of greedy lines here. But kicked Vesuvian Mist is cool. So I'm going to try to make sure I can do that. If I hit a forest here, that's super awkward. Or just an untapped land. Because then I could have done it all if I just played Vine Wall pre-combat. Yeah, I definitely should have played Vine Wall pre-combat, but you live and you learn. I say that, but I will never learn. Pre-combat the Vine Walls. So yeah, if I pre-combated the Vine Wall, I would have hit them down to 3 life there, because I could have cast the Gaia's Might and held up the kicked Vesuvian Mist that I so desire. But obviously I did not play Vine Wall pre-combat, so I didn't have the mana to know that I could Gaia's Might and Vesuvian Mist, because I had no guarantee I could hit an untapped land off the top. Okay. That's 4 3/3s. I guess we just lose, but not quite. I mean, probably. Herd Migration. That's so obnoxious. I mean, we're just never getting in now, even if I kill a 3/3 there. Attacking into 9 power and toughness. Cool, 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 cool. Well, might actually be better that I didn't end up Gaia's Mighting. Because then I have my opponent on 3, and then they just do the full stabilize here, and then I've got like nothing left. But I think if I curved out 100% efficiently, I could have killed them by now. Had I gone for the Vesuvian Mist to kill one of the soldiers that I know I could play Tolarian Terror that turn, then I could have done Gaia's Might and Terror in that one turn and then been attacking with the Terror by now. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty rough. Do I save Mist for a better creature, or do I get a Sojourner at this point? I feel like I just get a Sojourner right now. I guess I can use it during combat and still do really good stuff with it. Okay, I'm going to play a Sojourner, and I'm going to attack with Terror. And I have Gaia's Might and Vesuvian Mist for during combat. I can make Terror a 10/10, so I can kill 3/3/3s here. Okay, I can kill all of them if I missed. Guy's Might Mist kills all of them, and saves Tolarian Terror, but then I don't get to mist one of my opponent's creatures into my hand. Which is not ideal. Oh, this doesn't bounce tokens anyway. Oh, I didn't even realize the whole time. It literally can't target tokens in the first place. Okay, well that makes the decision for us. Well, now I don't have to feel bad about not curving out massively efficiently and bouncing a token. Because I couldn't have even bounced a token to cast the Terror turn earlier. Because I couldn't target a token. Still feel like there was probably a better line that finds lethal by now. Because we 100% know we could have put them to at least 3 by now. Probably somewhere we get them to even lower. I have no idea what's going on here. But sure. Tribute to Urborg. Is that -5, -5? -2, -2? Sentry back to their hand, get our own sentry. I probably should have blocked Sojourner, but they could have just bounced off each other. The only way I prompt them to 100% cast something is if I block the 4/4. Because then if they don't cast anything, their 4/4 just dies. But I don't know, might have been better to block Sojourner. Because they may have been in a headspace where they were just going to tribute no matter what. And then it could have been better for us. Ooh, speaking of tribute. Tribute their 4/4 and attack with a 4/6 here? Or I can just tribute mid-combat when they try to double block Sojourner. It's also pretty good. They're down to just a Sojourner of their own after this. If they have a Gaia's Might, we're not going to have fun here. Okay, no Gaia's Might. Alright. We're all on board. We've got the better board state, but they have 4 cards in their hand still. Urborg Repossession. Oh, that is a card I am happy I will not have to see anymore when Brothers War comes out. The grindy domain matchups where it's just like, alright, let's see who draws Urborg Repossession. I didn't get to get any Urborg Repossessions in this deck, which is even more brutal. I had one opportunity. I don't remember what I took over it, but it was something very strong. Find Shape of Prodigy kicked. Yeah, I mean, at this point, opponent's just going to outvalue us over the course of a long game that's going to take like another half hour to die. But we are on the back foot. I think they're in the lead at this point because of their card advantage. Might scoop now if I weren't recording. Now, okay, well, now I can scoop even if I am recording, because every time they play a land, they draw a card. Not only that, they draw a card from Slimefoot's spellbook, which means they're not going to mill out because they're drawing cards from the Aether. They're just drawing cards out of thin air. A lot of these are big bombs. Why won't it? Okay, I was going to say, why does it keep looping back? But yeah, there's a few really big bombs in there. Like the Verdant Force and the Verdant Embrace that keep giving them saplings every turn. But there are plenty of really strong cards, like just making 4 saplings. Speaking of making saplings. Okay. I mean, we are dying in the long game. We're getting absolutely handled. So let's just end the game as quickly as possible. And just go for every attack we can for the next couple turns and then let them overwhelm us with their fun guys. This is a really cool card though. I really want to make a Historic Brawl card around Slimefoot. Historic Brawl deck. Just green-black ramp. You don't even need to play threats because Slimefoot just keeps drafting them. And Slimefoot's only 2 mana. So you just play Slimefoot and then every single card in your deck is just mana ramp. It's just all ways to tutor out lands. Well, opponent's down to 6. That's something. Miria's Outrider's looking like a pretty legit draw. Alright, we're not actually out of this, because if I draw Miria's Outrider, I do win. Because I can hit them with at least 1 sapling, and then Outrider is 5 damage. So all in on Outrider at this point. I could sack 2 saplings to draw a card here. But then I don't have enough creatures to hit them for 1 more damage and guarantee that Outrider is lethal, because I highly doubt that they can't play another creature here when they just drafted a card from Slimefoot last turn. Alright, I'll have 3 attackers left. If they play a single blocker, I can't hit them next turn. I generally don't think I have much other ways to win this game than just sneaking in a damage here and going for Miria's Outrider. So I don't think just trying to draw into other stuff is going to be profitable. Well, Heirloom Battle Hymn is good. Sorry about that. Slapped the mic. Even better if I could shoot their face, but I cannot. So what do I do here? I just combat with everybody. I'm attacking with 5 creatures. If I kill Zaro Janin, then attack with everybody. They have to block Returner, and when they take 3, they go to 3 life. I can definitely make them within range of Outrider lethal. Do I just shoot Slimefoot so they don't draw any extra cards and then attack with everybody? They kill 2 of my creatures, but I put them to 3. Maybe I just... They're in Outrider lethal range even if I battle him post-combat, and if I do it post-combat I could kill Sojourner. But I think Returner's going to die here to where it's going to be a 3-2 in future combats where it still gets walled off by Zar anyway. So I think I kill Slimefoot pre-combat. And just get that extra point of damage out here. Why did it tap a black? Arena. Thanks for the auto tap. I was gonna say, yeah, now if Mana Worker dies in combat, I don't get Returner back this turn. Thank you, Magic Arena. Very cool. I gotta take my own advice here and never let the auto tapper do anything in this format. I've said it a lot throughout the drafts. Here's another video to tell you all, never let the auto tapper do anything in this format. Tap things yourself. They wouldn't have been straight dead if auto tapper were better, because I would have killed one sapperling and I would have hit them for, they would have blocked the returner, blocked one. They'd be at 1 life if auto tapper wasn't a complete doofus. And the fact that auto tapper is a moron means that I don't get to get this returner back because I have to just hold up extinguish the light now. Yeah, this is horrific stuff from the auto tapper this game. It's on me. I should not have just went. I should have looked at my lands where I tried to resolve the spell. That's so frustrating though. I can return her, and then if I top deck removal, I extinguish the light one, kill the other, and kill them. Right, if they only have 1 blocker left, they're dead. Yeah, and I'm gonna die in a few swings whether or not I kill these attackers. Mirror's Outrider off the top, let's go. Okay. I can survive 1 more attack. Probably. Shoot that, block, block, they go to 1. Yeah, these turns would have been dramatically different if I just had this returner out earlier by having double black up. But as I said earlier, it's probably still just on me this whole game, because I think I probably had a more aggressive line way, way, way earlier in this game to find lethal off that Gaia's Might, and just missed it somewhere. But that doesn't make that auto tap any less frustrating at this point in the game. 4 blockers, block, 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 gain 3 and take 4. I go to 2. Yeah, I can survive, but just barely. And I have to extinguish post-attack, I think. So if I just kill Zar here, now I go block, 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 take 3 and die. I have to kill something small. Well, we are still playing to our 1 out of Miria's Outrider that we've been digging for a while here. See if we can get it in the end. Kick a Pixie Illusionist. Yavimaya Sojourner. That is not a Miria's Outrider. That is game. 4 and 1. Here we are in round 6 now. Pretty great mana going on, especially with Mana Worker. So we will keep this one. See where it leads us. Tangled Islet is a solid draw. Since we don't have a 1-mana play, we can just get the tap land out of the way here. Another domainy deck. Ember Coiler is the first play. This card's completely busted. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you can discard a card to seek a card with greater mana value and exile it, and you can cast it till the end of turn. So, 2 mana 2/2, you can just discard a land card to draw a guaranteed spell that you can cast that turn. You still have to pay the mana cost, so you do have to have enough lands for whatever spell you randomly seek, but the fact that you just consistently turn lands into spells if you're ever flooding, the card is busted. We're just going to play a Mana Worker and pass. No blocks here. If they have an Impulse in hand, they get the kill for free on Mana Worker. Coral Colony. No, not like this. I would much rather not play against defenders. Pull out a mountain and pass the turn. Prowess is just an inherently really powerful mechanic as well. So you can't really make the blocks. Okay, we lose no matter what. They have Coral Colony, Shield Wall, Wingmantle. Yeah, game feels pretty over. Guess I can extinguish the Wingmantle when they play it. That'd be our best bet. Yeah, this is a pretty phenomenal deck from our opponent. All very, very valuable cards for the Defender's archetype, except the Ember Coiler, which is just a very good bomb. Well, now they have to cast something other than Wingmantle Chaplain this turn. At this point, I'm just going to kill the Ember Coiler so that I can keep Mana Worker. Oh my god. Oh my god. The idea there was that I get to keep Mana Worker and actually get a big attack out of the Weatherseed Treaty now, but they just have the counterspell too. Now they play Wingmantle for 3/1/1s. Minimum, if they have more defenders later, they'll get more. Yeah, no, I'm out. I'm moving on. Alright, here we are at round 7 on the play. I will keep this hand. We do need to hit a blue source here to kick this Prodigy. And Salvaged Mana Worker will get us there. But other than that, we really just need to hit one land mainly, because then we Prodigy into whatever else we need to get the game rolling. Opponent Vine Walls into a Tangled Islet. We have drawn into a Weatherseed Treaty, so that is perfect. We'll grab the island here. And now it's okay if the Mana Worker dies. I mean, I guess if the Mana Worker dies, we can't extinguish the light anymore, but cast everything else in the hand off of one more land. Wandering Treefolk. That is a pretty deadly card draw engine later in the game. I'm very tempted to just bounce it and put one into my hand here. Yeah, let's both have one of that, and you can just recast it next turn. I guess I could have done that in their end step if I wanted to see if they played a better card, but Treefolk's such a good mana sink. Alright, they're going to play a Phyrexian Rager now. Yep, still would have just bounced the Tree Folk then. Ooh, Namata. Namata, you say? +4/+4 here? 5/7 or 5/5. I'm only attacking with one of these no matter what, so it really doesn't matter. Opponent is down to 14. Urg spawn a Turg. Pretty nice card to surveil the top card of their library over and over. I'm probably trying to kill something with Gaia's Might and something with Extinguished Light. Would have been really ideal to hit a land at any point here. So we could Gaia's Might and Extinguish. Without the ability to do that, I think I'm still sending in... Probably with Namata, that's the only thing that likely gets them to block, and then we can Gaia's Might and still play Tree Folk for now. And if they don't block, then I can just Extinguish the Light Urg or something like that. But it might be better to kill Tree Folk. We gain life by killing Tree Folk, and they can't mana sink into drawing more creatures later. Urg is scary, but it doesn't give them as much value. It's just setting up the draws versus full-on drawing cards. Yeah, and any time that the top card of their library is good, it just doesn't do anything like that turn. It's like, alright, Baloth is good, I'll keep it, and I'll cast it. We've got full domain now for the Gaia's Might, which means we have 9 toughness on Warden, and they have 6 power. So Gaia's Might still gets in for this combat. Yep, Gaia's Might means we still send in. And we cast Wandering Tree Folk post-combat. Or actually probably Prodigy kicked. Alright, we're getting a Sapperling. It's all good by me. Kick a Prodigy. Grab a Morrow. Gaia's Might plus Miria's Outrider are a couple very good ways to try to find lethal out of nowhere. Opponent kept to their card for Urg again. They're going to cast a Bite down. Maybe I should have kept the land so that I could play Gaia's Might and Outrider this turn, which would mean they're dead if they let one creature through. I probably should have kept the untapped land and then just attack everybody, try to get a single creature through. Gaia's Might the one creature that gets through, and then cast an Outrider. My apologies about my angry chair. I guess instead I can Gaia's Might whatever gets through and then play a Sojourner. And then hope they don't have life gain. And then we Outrider next turn. Trade there, that's fine. Could kill Urg instead, but I'm gonna go for the Outrider lethal for next turn. I really should have kept that land. Actually play Terror instead of Sojourner, which is pretty good. They do have the mana to gain life off of Urg. Yeah, that's pretty bad if they don't have any more blockers to play here. They can spend 2 mana, sack a land, and gain 2 life. Might have punted this game away. We had straight up lethal if I kept the basic land off of the Prodigy. Well, they have tapped out of the ability to gain life and tapped out of the ability to cast an Essence Scatter, so it looks like we'll still get there, but I did give them an opportunity to Essence Scatter my Outrider or to gain some life here or something that I shouldn't have given them. So not the ideal line again, but still going to find us the victory. We are going to be 5-2 now, meaning we are in the money, in the value here, off of this Dominaria United Alchemy draft. Round 8, here we go. Terrible mana. Snap mulligan. Uh-oh. This may be the round where our mana base catches up to us. Got Tribute to Urborg and Choke in Miasma. I can just cross my fingers and pray that my opponent is aggressive, and then I get a good Choke in Miasma to get back in this game. After missing on land for a while. That feels risky. If my opponent's on Domain, I flat lose this game every time. Off this keep. The mana is really, really bad. I think I have to mulligan to 5, even though even the best 5-card hand is down to like a 40% or less win rate. Like a really low chance of victory with a really good 5-card hand. Yeah, I think this is just where we're at. This is the hands we've drawn. Okay. Well, this is a really good 5-card hand, like I was saying. Get rid of the Terror and a land, and then we just Weather Seed into Namada and pray. Hold on for dear life. And it's possible I'm supposed to get rid of 2 lands here and just really cross fingers for the 3rd land to be drawn. That seems real greedy though with a great 4-drop like this. I'm going to get rid of the Terror. And that's the hand. Alright, well we did immediately hit the land, so fingers crossed no more land draws after this, because that's 5 mana, enough to cast every spell in our deck. We did hit a Snare Spinner, we got a 2-drop. Opponent's on blue-red, which is a very, very bad matchup for Domain decks. They have a lot of great ways to stop an opponent from just playing like one good spell every turn. They have the Essence Scatters for the great bomb creatures, and the Utilitarian Geysers to put your creatures back in a hand to slow you down and kill you with their small, efficient creatures. We've already got the blue, so we'll grab the red. No, when I'm blue-red, I cross my fingers and I hope to play against the Domain decks so I can just really slow them down. Ooh, opponent just kept a Goblin Influx Array hand. That could be bad. We are already down several cards off of the mulligans, and now our opponent is drawing an extra card every turn. So the card advantage disparity is huge. Goblin War Chief from the Goblin Influx Array. Now all their goblins are cheaper and have haste. There's another goblin to hand now. Extinguish the light if I need it. I'm going to give the extra power to Snare Spinner because I might have to sack the Sapperling to protect Namada here. I've got the mana to sack the Sapperling and cast Extinguish the Light, so we'll attack with everybody. And not much can go particularly wrong here. Furious Bellow, give it +3/+0 first strike. That makes it a 5 power. I can make Namada a 5/6 here. We'll make Namada a 5/6 here. Cool, and we get the Sapperling right back without spending a card. Cool, cool, cool. Play the Forest, and now I have the mana to sack a Sapperling for Namada again if it's necessary. Could hold up Extinguish, but I think I'm going to play Rager, and I can just Extinguish during my turn if I need to kill their creature. The only way that not holding up Extinguish works poorly for me is if they have like green removal and they haven't played any green sources. Like if they have removal that they need their creature on board to cast. Oh, that's removal they need the creature on board to cast, but Extinguish the Light doesn't do anything in response to that. They can just sack it in response for 1. But that is 2 damage. So it's also not big enough to kill Namada, so we're all good. Sojourner. I have the mana to play Tribute to Urborg and cast this Sojourner. How do I want to attack here? Ember Hauler gets to kill... doesn't get to kill Namada. We're probably attacking with everybody again. Except the 1/1 Sapperling, I guess, because Ember Hauler can just block and kill it. But they probably block Namada with Ember Hauler and then sack it to kill Phyrexian Rager. Seems like the line. That is what they're going to do. Okay. I've got the mana to play Sojourner and hold up Namata's ability or Tribute to Urborg here, so we'll play the Sojourner. Okay, they are an Essence Scatter deck. This was assumed earlier on when I was talking about blue-red. Luckily we got the... Whoa. Oh, that doesn't work because we exiled it. So that's just a 2-2, right? Yep, that's just a 2-2. That's fine. Beetleback Chief, that is a great one. That's a lot of creatures. 2-2 and a couple 1-1s. Go nice and wide here. Tribute something right now. I feel like I just saved that for combat tricks. Really wish I had a third black source here to cast both of these. Can't really get in with anybody but Namada now. We've put in an astronomical amount of work here. I mean, Namada is really the one that's put in all the work, but the fact that we're still in this off the mold of 5 against the draw a card every turn spell is kind of nuts. So I'm happy with whatever happens from this point on. We've been doing great staying in the game for now. Alright, do the onboard play. Kill them both. Get 2 more Saplings and pass. Artillery Blast. Tapped creature gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4 damage, and I do not have enough Saplings to save Namata. Well, that's frustrating. Okay. Yep, our one threat is gone. Now we probably do die to the Influx Array. Yeah, that's 4 damage. Can't untap Namata or anything fancy here. The creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. I could actually do something fancy here, I think. Fingers crossed. Yes, okay, I can. Okay, that was close. This should save it. Yep, by getting an extra sapling by killing a goblin there. That was almost really, really bad for us. Without Namata, we have no game plan. That is so nice that Namata gives us saplings against tokens too. Goblin Arsonist does not work as long as we have Namata on board, which is pretty nasty. It's just a 1-1. Usually when it dies it does damage to any target, but it doesn't get to die if Namata's on board. Alright, stall for time just happens. Send the saplings in, play Amaro. Okay, this is not going to work how they want it to. The Arsonist does not die. Probably another scatter here. Nope, no scatter. Feels good. We have a double pump for Namata held up. Relic Rubber. We can block that. 2/2 goblin? Pretty much a 2/2 goblin. Okay, we've got a mana worker and an extinguish the light. We're definitely sending in Morrow. I don't think we're sending in the 1/1s. Alright, chump with a goblin, we get a sapperling. Namada's bonkers. Bonkers card. Single-handedly keeping us in this game off the mold of 5. Tura, Kenyard, Sky Knight. They get 1/1s as they cast instants and sorceries, and they'll play a Legion War Boss as well, which gives them a 1/1 each combat that has to attack. We can just block that with a mana worker, kill it and get another sapperling. I think we do want to extinguish the Tura in their end step. Although I suppose it's not necessary, we can still just attack with Namada and Morrow and hold extinguish. Because it's not like killing Tura lets all of our 1/1s in. Although if I kill Tura, they have 2 total blockers. They have to block Namada and Morrow, so it does get all our 1/1s in. They chump block Namada and Morrow, and everything else gets in. Because if either Morrow or Namada gets in, they're just going to die. So I probably should extinguish the Tura in the end step. Furious Bellow. Now they're going to have more creatures no matter what. They could extinguish this so they don't scry 1, but then they still have Tura and 4 creatures total. This is significantly less cool. And mana worker's not that important at this point in the game. If I kill Tura, they have 3 blockers. Still feels like they have to mostly chump. I guess chump with 1/1, chump with 2/2, block with War Boss, take 3. 4 if I get another sapperling. Probably worth it. Another sapperling will be 4. 4 damage off of the attack. I guess they could actually War Boss onto a sapperling to kill 1. Alright, chump there, chump there. War Boss on sapperling to kill a sapperling. Because this sapperling's going to die anyway, is it worth it to draw a card here and deal 1 less damage? Probably so. Let's draw a card and deal 1 less damage. Tellurian Terror is the draw, that is a good one. Get a couple sapperlings off the chump blocks, so we have blockers. Play the swamp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Holding up Namada's ability 1 time, so Namada doesn't die to a 4 damage spell like Heirloom Battle Hymn. And Goblin Arsonist is the play off the Goblin Influx array. They just drew too many lands in the end there, and Namada really just put in every last bit of effort that game to just run on through the goblins, just try to roll right over them. And we'll succeed eventually, so we are now 6-2. Heading into the final boss, we've got the maximum amount of gameplay out of this draft, no matter what. Playing all 9 games. We'll see if it ends in a 7-win run or a 6-3. So close to greatness. Alright, here we are in the final game of today's draft. No matter what happens, we've got our double black for Extinguish the Light. We have the red source off the Weatherseed Treaty to cast the Outrider. We don't have much when it comes to early game, but overall, some decently high impact plays and some pretty good mana. I am going to keep this. Opponent starts with their own Tangled Islet. Let's just jinx them here. Idyllic Beachfront looks like a mirror match for sure. Domain versus Domain. They have all but black right now, and they're going to play an Aether Channeler to get a 1/1 or draw a card. Choosing to draw a card. Very nice rare there. Ooh, we've got our double Weatherseed Treaty, which is cute. Pull a bunch of lands out just right now, make it less likely to draw them later. And just have a ton of mana. Alright, we've got all but a white source. Niel Avazoa Aeronaut. That is scary enough to go ahead and kill here. So I think I will just Extinguish the Light rather than play an Outrider or something, so I know that that is gone. They do not set up any draws, especially if they hit a swamp. Because then they would be digging 5 cards deep and immediately drawing the card of their choice out of those 5. They're counting up the Weatherseed Treaty, seeing if it's worth killing the Saproling, most likely, to prevent any damage here. Or if it's worth offering the trade of Channeler into Saproling to see if we just trade it off before we deal any damage with it. Alright, play a Mana Worker. And a Vohar. That is... Why is it so fuzzy? What is going on with this Vohar? That looks so weird. Why does the text look like that? Alright, weird. Well, we've got a big Saproling to send in this turn. Probably going to tribute the Vohar so they don't get any value off of it throughout this game. Then I have 4 mana to play around with, which means I Weatherseed Treaty where I kick a Prodigy. Probably kill Vohar, kick a Prodigy here. Seems fine. I also just don't like looking at it. Like, why is it so fuzzy? We got 144p Vohar over here. Everybody else is just full resolution, but this Vohar is not having a good time. Grab our Hurloon, battle him. Gotta love our Vine Shaper Prodigy here, which is just a weaker Aether Channeler. No! Sphinx of Clear Skies. Okay, we're dead. Yep, I mean, I can't even kill that with Battle Him. It's only 4 damage. I can play a 4/4 Outrider, which also doesn't kill it because it's only 4 damage. And that draws them 2 cards every time it hits us. Yep, we are definitely out of this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can cast Weatherseed Treaty and Battle Him. That doesn't do anything. I can just play the Outrider, so I'm ready to Battle Him the Sphinx later, which I guess is the best bet. But yeah, Sphinx of Clear Skies is going to take it away from us now. If I were omnipotent... Oh my god, that's a guaranteed loss. Holy lord, those are draws. Bunch of card draw or a giant 7/7. They only have 5 mana right now, so the 7/7 is actually not that much value. Espionage, or Repossession's huge value. These 2 engrave. I think that's just better than the Espionage. But then the problem is they take these 2. Now they're going to Espionage into lands they need to cast the Ancient. They take these 2, they just play a land, repossess, and start casting their great cards from grave. Yeah, Sphinx is the illusion of choice. The illusion of choice. The 2 options are my opponent wins the game this way or that way. I guess they don't have a black source yet for repossession. No, they have Mana Worker. Never mind. Alright, Tide Turner. I completely forgot what I was saying earlier. Oh yeah, I guess I could have not killed Niall and I would have still had Extinguish the Light to deal with this, but then Niall would have been giving them value throughout this game. Unless they had nothing to interact with my Outrider. Which I don't think it was worth playing under the assumption that they just couldn't mess with my Outrider. Got a lot of black sources. I only need one blue, so we'll just get more green, I guess. And plan here is to block Sphinx and battle him it, and maybe we've got a shot, but then they still have the repossession in hand. Yeah, no, we can't. We can't win off repossession. They're at 11. I mean, maybe. Maybe we magically find the big trample kill. Maybe Hurloon Battle him on attacks actually gets there. I probably should have played Sojourner here. I should have seen the line of, like, they just hold on to repossession so that even if I block and kill Sphinx, they're just going to bring it back with the repossession anyway. So I should have just played Sojourner and just been like, alright, we'll just go for an Alpha Strike next turn, attack with everybody, and hope that somehow I can find a trample kill through Weather Seed Treaty. I guess not next turn, but 2 turns from now. It's a crapshoot, but it's better than whatever I'm doing here. This plays really poorly into that repossession. I guess that they at least don't draw a card this turn. Or don't draw 2 more cards this turn. And they're not going to recast Sphinx this turn because I can cast the Battle Hymn in their end step. Okay, looks like they are drawing at least 1 card this turn off the Vine Shaper Prodigy. I can't stop looking at this Vohar. Well, it looks like the line I took went as well as it possibly could for us. Although they can actually... Yeah, Repossession Vohar is another ridiculous combo. Never mind. They can play the Vohar to recast the Repossession from grave. To get back the Sphinx off of that. Vohar Repossession is really, really nasty, because you sack the Vohar to be able to cast Repossession from grave, and then you cast the Repossession from grave kicked to pick up the Vohar and something else. Which is brutal. The Repossession gets exiled, so you can't just keep doing that forever, but the one time you do that, it is great value. One mossy boy. One Morrow. It's kind of cool. +4/+4, make a 9/9 here. They block with a 7/7 and 2 1/3s. Well, it's the biggest threat we can make. Alright, we get in for some damage then. Hit for 7, put them down to 11. Play a Morrow. We aren't getting, like, embarrassingly destroyed here. But we are getting destroyed. Slowly but surely with Sphinx of Clear Skies value. Yeah, opponent's drawn 4 cards deeper than we have. There's the Vohar. recast a repossession, kick it, pick up Vohar and Sphinx. That is a line they can take. They are not going to do it yet. Okay. I mean, they are at 11 here, but they have a 7-7, so I can't get him with anything but Morrow. As soon as Morrow trades into that 7-7, though, everything else can start attacking. But they probably have enough mana to sack Vohar, repossess, and cast the Ancient. We'll see. If I attack with everybody, they kill one with Ancient, but everything else is kind of a chump. Right, I mean, they get a free kill on Tolarian Terror this way, and then what? Chump with a 2-1 and a 1-3, chump chump. And then they kill both my Saprolings for free and just take 2. That doesn't seem great. Yeah, that doesn't seem great for me. Because they kill both my Saprolings for free, they kill one of my big creatures for free. And I don't get any damage in any way. And then if I don't attack with the Saprolings, like, well, then they just bounce here, chump chump, and kill Terror for free. Yeah, straight up does not look good to just attack wide. It's borderline enough that if we had probably any combat trick in the deck or any instant speed removal in the deck, it'd be a great attack, but just 100% on board, it's not great. It's on that borderline against us. Artillery Blast. The Territorial Morrow for 6 because they have 5 land types. Looks like it might be time to Vohar around. Yep, Vohar repossession. Here we go. Spin the wheel. The cycle begins. But it's not like a chain. It doesn't keep going forever, so it's not quite like a merry-go-round kind of thing. But it is funny. It is good. Repossess Vohar plus whatever creature you want. There's the Sphinx, back again. To ruin my day. So they're going to hit us here. They get to draw 3 cards now, because we split into 2 piles. One of 3 and one of 2. And this is what I said when I took this during the draft and during the deck building. Drawing this against a domain deck is going to be a terrible draw. It's going to be a really big feel bad. We have drawn it against the domain deck here, so we are getting punished. Miasma was pivotal in several of our wins, though, so it was worth it. Opponent gets to draw 5,000 cards again. They hit 2 lands here. Good lord. Oh my god. Conjure a card named Marwyn and X Land Werewolves. They have like 10 mana already, right? Yeah, they have 10 mana. 11 if they use Tide Turner. 4 plus 7 additional. which means they get a Morrowind and 7 1/1s, which means Morrowind is an 8/8, and all the Llanowar Elves are 1/1s. Good lord. Alright, well, that's the pile then. That's the pile then. Opponent's deck is very good. There's some hefty bomb power in there. And a pretty great mana base as well. Yep. Well, I mean, choking miasma does something now. It's kind of cool. Oh, arena. Oh, we're lagging. We're chugging along there. And I obviously don't kill the Morrowind and I don't kill the Sphinx, which means I am still very quickly losing this game, but I've got nothing else to do and it's kind of cute. So let's kill all the Llanowar Elves. Arena's still chugging along. Oh, it's conjured too, so they have all these Llanowar Elves in their graveyard. Their thriving necromancers cost like negative $1 million to cast. They're gonna play something that returns all creatures from grave to battlefield. This Morrowind taps for 9 power, or for 9 mana, because that is its power. Good gravy. Opponent is having the most fun today. This opponent is having the most fun today out of everybody we've played. Oh, there's that 144p Vohar. There's a battle hymn on her. Only creature small enough to die to it that doesn't come back from grave. Now they're going to recast it and kill the returner as well. That's fine. I guess so they find lethal this turn. Because I can only block 3 things. That actually... Yeah, it is lethal because the trample. That's exact lethal. Sure. That's 1 overkill. It was exact lethal without the trample. Alright, well, not much to say about that game. Our opponent's deck was absolutely phenomenal, and it definitely deserves that win. It is going to be 6-3 to end it off. 1,800 gems and 5 packs is our reward. Some pretty big rewards this time around. Pretty great draft to end off the Dominaria United Alchemy drafts for now, as we do have Streets of New Capenna rebalanced drafts back on Arena starting tomorrow. So that is what we're going to be doing for the next few days, seeing how that format plays with the rebalances. They tried to make it so 3-color decks are a little more viable. It's less 2-color aggro, so they made some changes to try to slow down some of the aggro decks and incentivize 3-color decks more. So we'll see how those rebalances affect the game in our Streets of New Capenna draft starting tomorrow. Other than that, plenty more limited content coming up. Innistrad Crimson Vow drafts will be back at the very end of the month. We'll have Innistrad Crimson Vow quick drafts. After the Streets of New Capenna drafts, we have Throne of Eldraine Premier drafts coming back. A lot of great variety of limited stuff. And then the original Dominaria Sealed Arena Open in November. So that'll be very cool. We'll do some original Dominaria. So as always, great limited stuff on the horizon. If you want to see some more videos like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send you some more of these videos in your recommended feeds. Other than that, once again, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon for some more Magic Arena.